How's it going? Dave here, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a little bit of a different video. I am reviewing this book, Atomic Habits. The reason I'm reviewing this book is because even though it's not a guitar book, it has actually really made me think about my guitar playing and how I approach practicing and building my habit of practice. And I found that with guitar playing as well, if you just stick to guitar-based things to learn about playing guitar, you can somewhat limit yourself. And if you find other mediums and find parallels, like I don't know, like working out in the gym, finding parallels to guitar there, or looking at other instrument tutorials like keyboard tutorials or drum tutorials, you can really learn a lot of things that you might not have done using resources specifically designed for guitar. This book is called Atomic Habits, and it's all about building habits. And just to sum it up quickly, it breaks down building habits into 4 different steps, and they are to make it obvious, to make it attractive, to make it easy, and to make it satisfying. So I'm going to break down these 4 steps, apply them to guitar, and show you some ways you can build your habits. But I'd highly recommend grabbing this book because it goes into a lot more detail than I'm going to go into right now. And if you feel inclined to do so, then I have a link in the description down below where you can grab this book, and I will get a very small cut of the purchase of that book if you're interested. So first of all, the first step to building really good habits is to make it obvious. You want an obvious idea of what you're going into when you practice, so the best thing to do is create what James Clear in this book has called an implementation intention. Say that 5 times in a row. And all it is to basically make it extremely obvious what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, and where you're going to do it. So for example, I could say I am going to practice the harmonic minor mode in all 12 keys for 20 minutes. And I'm going to do that at 5 p.m. and I'm doing it in my bedroom. So you know exactly what you're doing, when you're supposed to do it, where you are doing it. And it just makes it a whole lot more easy to implement that. Something else you can do is to design your environment. So make it more streamlined, which I think I'll talk about a little bit later, but just make things in your environment more conducive to making you want to practice guitar. Now, the inversion of this step, each one of these 4 steps has an inversion. That's basically meaning how to reverse your bad habits. The inversion of make it obvious is to make it invisible. So you want to take any habits that you want to replace with playing guitar and reduce your exposure to them. So if you are playing too many video games, for example, go take that Xbox and put it in the loft, and playing more guitar is going to be the obvious choice to do, right? So the second step to building really good habits is to make them attractive. Now, a really cool way of doing this is to create a motivation ritual before you start playing guitar. So maybe you could start watching your favorite guitarists, listening to your favorite bands, getting inspiration for what you want to practice before you start practicing. And that'll make your practice feel a lot more attractive. Something else you can do is to join a culture where the desired habit, i.e. practicing, is the norm. So maybe join a jam group or start jamming with a friend on a regular basis, because then you're going to have to keep up with them to make sure you're on their level. I think that's a really good way of making it really attractive to practice your guitar. Now, of course, the inversion of this is to make your bad habits unattractive. So to make your bad habits unattractive, all you got to do really is reframe them. So think, what would be the benefits of not doing this bad habit? So for me, it's video games all the time. So I'm just going to use video games as the bad habit example for the rest of the video. So if I stop playing video games, then I'll have more time to practice. I'll become a better guitar player. I'll make more money. I'll have more fun playing guitar, I guess. So that's how you can reframe a bad habit to make it unattractive and make playing guitar more attractive. Now, the third step to building really good habits is to make them easy. So the first way of doing this is reducing friction. And by reducing friction, I mean reducing the number of steps it takes to start practicing guitar. So what you could do is, instead of having your guitar on the other side of the room, have it hung right in front of you on the wall. So all you have to do is reach out your arm and pick it up. That's one way of reducing friction. I'm sure there are many other ways, but that's the only way I can really think of right now. And another way you can make practicing really easy to do is to implement the 2-minute rule. So the 2-minute rule is really good for when you are wanting to practice a particular topic, but you're finding it hard to get into and you don't have the motivation to do it. So the 2-minute rule states that you just do the thing for 2 minutes. So say there's a real obscure scale that you really want to learn, but you're finding it hard and you kind of don't really get the sound of it and the theory behind it, just commit to 2 minutes of learning it. Maybe you can just learn the shape, and then as you do 2 minutes every day, it becomes consistent, and that 2 minutes can turn into 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, half an hour. And it's all about sowing those seeds, like planting the little seed of practice every single day, and building it into a habit before you can go into these long, like 2-hour practice sessions, I guess. And of course, the inversion of make it easy would be to increase the friction between you and your bad habits. So as I said, you could take your Xbox in the video game case and chuck it up in the loft so that you're not able to access it as easier, and the guitar becomes the more obvious action to do. Now, the fourth step to building really good habits from this book is to make them satisfying. Now, some really cool ways of doing this is to give yourself a reward upon completion. So maybe you can make that cup of coffee after you've practiced a little bit, or maybe you could, I don't know, give yourself a piece of cake or something. That's probably not a good idea actually, because that's kind of unhealthy, but maybe, I don't know, reward yourself in some way after you complete the action. Another way is to use a habit tracker. So when you track your habits, you can really see the progress and your improvement over time, and that makes practicing a more satisfying thing because you know you're getting better every single time. And the inversion of this is to make it unsatisfying, so make things that you don't want to do unsatisfying. And the best way to do this is to get an accountability partner. So you can basically agree with a friend, I'm going to do this amount of practice, I'm going to prove to you that I did this amount of practice, and if I don't, then I don't know, I have to do something embarrassing, or I have to give you some money or something. So that's a really good way of making bad habits unsatisfying and making your good habits satisfying. So I know this was a little bit of a different video. There's no practical guitar tips in this one, but I thought this book was really, really good. You should definitely check it out. I don't even touch the surface with what he talks about in this book. I've just covered the main points he goes over. And he explains it a lot better than I probably could too. If you're interested, go to my link in the description and grab the book there. And if you enjoyed the video, click like, let me know what you thought in the comments, and subscribe to my channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell too. I always do that, it's not there, it's down there. Hit that notification bell so that you're notified every single time I release a new video, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good one.